But what I wanted to start off with, Billy, and I think a lot of people here have been kind of plugged into this, and I don't know how much TexAgs Radio touched on it, and I don't know how much Louis touched on it, if any at all. But I wanted to get your reaction to what has happened in the wake of Jeffrey Carter's commitment to A&M, and just the folks north of the Red River showing their complete hind end, both coaching staff, fan base, and media. I think it was disgusting the way that they came after a kid for committing to an in-state SEC school, a top 5 class in the country, a place where he had formed a bond with a lot of the commitments. At the same school that hid Joe Mixon for the better part of a year, the same school that took in Dorial Green Beckham, who had domestic violence issues, the same school that signed Dede Westbrook out of Blinn Junior College, who also had domestic issues. So apparently,
Dusty Dvorak,
yes, so
got him his 6th year. After
apparently, it's getting a nail in your tire, or whether that happened or not, is worse than beating a woman, in their eyes. I just thought it was completely embarrassing and pathetic.
Well, I'll take it even down a bunch of notches and say, Lincoln Riley let that crap slide. The media let that crap slide. Sometimes everybody thinks I like to go and stir it up and argue. I'd love to. I'd love to go on there and do this. I would chat. I mean, here, and then again, I wouldn't. Like, it just takes too much time of people back and forth. But Aaron Moorhead was raked over the absolute coals.
As he should have been.
No, not really like to that level, though. Like, it was just like it was.
No degree, it's wrong both ways.
Yeah, like, I just think, like, does Kerry Cooks need to have people calling for his job over that? No. Should he have done it? No. Should there be a light shed on what he tweeted and all that? Yes. By the same media that did the exact same thing to Aaron Moorhead for doing really the exact same thing, but actually to a lesser degree, because there were undertones from Kerry Cooks about
money,
calling out Jeffrey Carter's honesty and character and money and things like that, and he's retweeting. He doubled down and tripled down and quadrupled down when he kept retweeting stuff that he found funny by fans, from all the way from a bag being dropped off to, I mean, these are, for an assistant coach to act like that, much less an assistant coach that would have loved nothing more than to be on this A&M staff, because he tried to.
Yep, that's what I was going to say next.
And where's the honesty there? Where's the honesty there when you're sitting there a week later after A&M hires Maurice Linguist and you're going out trying to recruit Leon O'Neal to OU or whatever, or these 2019 kids that, like Carter, like Eric Young, like Brian Williams, where's the honesty there? And to me, it was really, I think it'll come back around on Cooks. He's likely to be a part of a pretty bad defense this year, Norman. And Mike Stoops is a holdover from his brother Bob. If I had a defense that could do a damn thing and stop a simple running play and keep it from being a 50 or 60 or 70-yard touchdown run, we're playing for a national championship and maybe winning one. Mike Stoops will probably be fired after this year, and there's a pretty good chance that Kerry Cooks will go with him. My point of that is, why burn those bridges? Why make yourself look that bad? So, yeah, was I disgusted by it? Yeah. Do I worry that much about it? No, but I do think it's something that
they're the worst fan base on Twitter.
They're despicable. They're pitiful. You wish you could lay hands on a lot of them. You can't. That's society today. You can't do that. Here's the deal. Their fan base, it is. Their social media fan base is disgusting. They are a vile group of people.
It surprised me how bad they were.
Well, it doesn't mean, because their fans in Arkansas really stand out. Arkansas, though, are more like fanatical. Like, you're like, man, those people, they're kind of crazy. Watch out. They're like the crazy family member where you're like, oh, Aunt so-and-so's coming. Watch out, Aunt Faye's coming in.
Aunt Dolores.
Aunt Dolores. Aunt Dolores is a good aunt because she just comes bringing like toys and foods and treats to the little. She's just so sad because she doesn't have any grandkids of her own. But the problem is, OU fans are they're vile on social media. I've met plenty of them in person that are fine. They're vile on social media. They're disgusting people, and I do think it's something that A&M needs to. When they need to, you don't need to waste much time with it. But when push comes to shove, yeah, point that out. I think A&M fans, if you on Twitter and consistently point that out, make them shine a spotlight on Kerry Cooks and what he's done. Lincoln Riley didn't do a damn thing about it. Say everybody, and Lord knows plenty of people have said what they will about Kevin Sumlin. Aaron Moorhead was disciplined for that. He was disciplined in the form of not tweeting. He was disciplined in the form of, in-house, read the Riot Act and told that, that can never happen again. When Jeff Banks and Turner with the chalk talk thing, they were disciplined and actually suspended for part of fall camp when their first game was a big one against UCLA. Lincoln Riley will do nothing. Lincoln Riley will do nothing, and the biggest shock to me is that the media hasn't got on that. I mean, what's the deal? Why is it? And I don't think it's an anti-A&M like everybody thinks because it was national. It's like I guess times have changed enough since then that people think it's okay. What he did was lowbrow and pitiful, and I think every kid that's considering A&M and OU needs to see that. Parents need to see that. Moms need to see that. The good news is they cost themselves any shot of flipping Jeffrey Carter back, so there's that.
To close this segment, I want to get into recruiting a little bit later in the show because I do think it's such a big part of what Jimbo Fisher has done, and it's been the leading storyline through this summer. But to close this segment, you brought up a good point a couple of weeks ago. A&M's primary recruiting battles are now happening against Oklahoma, Alabama. There's a little bit of Texas mixed in. There's a little bit of LSU mixed in. Georgia, Auburn. There was some times in years past where A&M was pulling guys from Oklahoma State, and God bless those kids because Dan Moore's probably going to start. Jarrett Hawkins.
There's always something for that, but it's the.
But I thought you brought up a good point, and that it's just different, man. And these are the type of battles that Jimbo Fisher and his staff are used to winning.
I said it when you were talking about firing, about you. I mean, when all of us were talking about if Kevin Sumlin's going to get fired, and my caveat was, you better upgrade in every way imaginable. You better be able to make that higher, because you can't go sliding down that ladder rung by rung and skip a few rungs and look up and you got Charlie Strong in here. Or you've got somebody that is the same or worse than the guy you had that would have been going into year 7. They did that with Jimbo. But one of my things was desperately wanted a guy that could, A, recruit the Deep South, that, B, knew the SEC. And I always like to say, I told him this Saturday, you built an SEC West football team in Tallahassee. And I wanted a guy that knew how to run a major program. I don't think Texas A&M should ever hire someone again unless it's a coach in waiting that's been inside the thing for several years. They should never again go hire an up-and-comer for football at this school. Here's the deal, Bronny. Kevin Sumlin wasn't a failure. He just didn't win at the level that the expectations, and rightfully so. This is what the expectation should be. He couldn't reach that level. But I would never I wouldn't hire Tom Herman out of U of H a year or 2 years ago when they hired him.
Thank God they didn't do that.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother 20 minutes. But I wouldn't do that anymore. And my big thing was you need to hire a guy that can go into a living room. I said this. The night after Urban Meyer's in there and the night before Nick Saban's in there and whoever's coaching at OU, LSU, or Texas, and go in there and win those battles because not only can win them, has proven he can win them, knows he can win them, and wins them consistently. That's what you're seeing Fisher do. And, yeah, I do think it shifted from LSU Texas to OU, Alabama, Georgia. You're competing Clemson. You're competing more with these playoff teams than these teams that are kind of where you're at right now, even though Texas isn't even where A&M's at, but kind of where you're at right now, which is the outside looking in. You've shifted more to competing with the teams that are already there, and I love that. And the biggest dynamic, the two fan bases that I think have to be feeling, and coaching staffs that have to be feeling the most heat right now, are in Austin, where you got Lincoln Riley and Jimbo Fisher freaking rolling on the recruiting front, and Herman's doing a really good job, but he's having to do a lot of it out west, where I think that's fool's gold. And then the other guy and fan base that is really worried right now is in Baton Rouge, because here's the thing. You got Nick Saban, who was their head coach, and right to the other side of them, they've got Jimbo Fisher, who was their OC,
and who they wanted desperately, and who they felt it was their God-given birthright to have as their next head coach. And LSU stuck right in between both of them. And they got Coach O.
And they've got Coach O. And then on top of that, I'll say this. LSU right now has to feel a little bit like A&M felt for a while when you had Mac Brown, Bob Stoops, and Nick Saban, which I was calling like the Bermuda Triangle for A&M. That really choked off a lot of A&M recruiting to where they were fighting those battles you were talking about earlier. LSU's in Louisiana. They're not going to ever be completely choked off, but that is putting Saban and Fisher to the east and west are exerting an awful lot of pressure on Ed O and that program right now.
Good stuff, Luch. On the other side of the break, we're on the eve of fall camp. We'll get Lucci's thoughts heading into fall practice and more. Beliucci Hour lunch live on the Zone.
You can hear A&M football every game, home, road, or bowl on Sports Radio 1150 and the Zone 102.7 FM.
If you're a man over 55 years of age, it's time to talk about prostate cancer. According to the American Cancer Society, 1 in 6 men will develop prostate cancer in his lifetime. Early detection offers a better opportunity for successful surveillance or treatment. Urologist Dr. Evan Lacefield provides comprehensive care for men with conditions such as prostate, kidney, and bladder cancers, and offers minimally invasive surgery for treating prostate and all urologic cancers. Call Dr. Lacefield at 696-5505 or visit txurology.com.
We are the Metria Recovery,
the one outpatient treatment network that focuses on one thing:
crushing opioid addiction.
with one treatment team.
Counselors, doctors, nurses, psychiatrists.
one proven method, the Symetria method.
With a success rate 4 times the industry average.
Call 844-847-6999.
That's 844-847-6999.
Hey, opioid addiction, we've got your number.
When you think of Texas A&M Athletics on the Zone, think of the businesses sponsoring the games of your favorite team.
Businesses like Subway, Coldwell Banker, Agtown Realtor, Cherry Rufino Realtors, and Team Ford of Navasota.
Here's a big gig-em to these sponsors of Texas A&M Athletics. You're listening to the flagship station for Texas A&M Athletics, Sports Radio 1150 and the Zone 102.7 FM.
Venue, caterer, officiant, photographer, videographer, DJ, baker, florist, coordinator, dress, ring, hair and makeup, bartender, invitations, lighting, photo booth, entertainment.
Overwhelmed yet? Not with Brazos Valley Bride Magazine by your side? The resource for brides and grooms in the Brazos Valley, filled with incredible advice from local vendors, extensive vendor listings, and inspiration for your special day. Reserve your business's ad space in our fall 2018 issue by August 17th to reach couples all across the Brazos Valley. Contact Cherish Sussman at 979-695-9595. You're invited to Messina Hoff Winery's 41st Annual Harvest Festival. Celebrate the season with a fun-filled, unique experience including grape picking, traditional grape stomping, wine and food pairings, specialty dinners, and more. Festivities kick off July 27th with events happening all August long. Visit messinahoff.com/harvest for a full schedule and ticket.
Welcome back, Beliucci Hour Lunch from live here at the Tap. Sports Radio 1150, the Zone 102.7 FM. Come check out the Tap's great lunch specials. $8.49 burger basket, $8.49 taco salad. Live music tonight. Piano bar Wednesdays, karaoke Mondays. We'll be here all fall, and I believe that first, as long as I can go back and do the research, that home opener against Northwestern State on that Thursday, I believe it's the first Beliucci Hour show they'll have on a day of a home football game. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure John and the guys here and gals here will have something cooked up if y'all want to come tailgate with us before the Aggies open the Jimbo Fisher era against the Northwestern State Demons. A very bittersweet day for our guy Tipton in the front table because it will not be Chad Morris running out there.
It's going to be rough.
Lucia, I want to spend – we got a kind of a short segment here.
He is the epitome of all that is wrong with the A&M fan base that we need to change. That we need to change.
Tipton, welcome back to the Beliucci Hour. Gee.
No, we love you, Tipton. You know we wouldn't pick on you if we didn't. But it is. It's just we can't. It's too good to be true. We're not good enough to get him. He would never leave there. And we're going to go the easy route and hire Chad Morris because we're Aggies. Which, by the way, is exactly what I was talking about in terms of the downgrade thing. And not to say he won't win more than Kevin Sumlin. I don't know that he will, though. But it's just like all those boxes that we said needed to check, he didn't check any of them. And no one checked them all except, I think, Jimbo Fisher checked them all. I think the person that would have come closest after that to checking them would have been like a Gary Patterson, but he would not have been able to check them all.
Chris Peterson.
Well, I just don't. I think Chris Peterson was probably an unattainable.
Doesn't matter.
But Chris Peterson wouldn't have checked them all either.
No.
A couple of pretty important ones, which I think he's a damn good coach. No. He wouldn't have checked the boxes of
SEC experience,
anything really in Texas. Running a program of this stature and magnitude where it was that big a show in that town versus UW in Seattle. There were a lot of ways he wouldn't have, but I think he would win anywhere you put him. I think he'd win anywhere you put him.
We got a quick segment here, Luke, so let's continue. I just want to kind of finish up the recruiting stuff. A&M at 23 commitments with a handful of targets still left out there. You know, the number kind of fluctuates between 26, 27, and how many they could go. Mm-hmm. Just your quick overall snapshot of where
By the way,
at.
the number doesn't fluctuate. It's everyone what they think the number is that fluctuates.
Right. Yeah,
there's
depending
a
on
specific number
they have to get to, right. But your just quick snapshot of
Tyler Johnson and Javon Shepard in this A&M class along with Kenyon Green. Don't get me wrong. But and Javon Shepard in the same class as Kenyon Green.
Good player,
as a
good prospect. Yeah.
Again, I would love to have seen A&M win that recruiting battle. But if you go, I mean,
minutes someone dies from opioid addiction. It's a unique addiction, and only one treatment network focuses exclusively on this one thing: crushing opioid addiction.
Symmetry Recovery. One mission, 3 key elements.
Medication, behavioral therapy, and an outpatient setting.
With a success rate 4 times the industry average.
Call 844-847-6999. For you or a loved one, that's 844-847-6999.
Hey, opioid addiction, we've got your number.
Always the hottest, coolest time. Let's go to Schlitter Bar.
For our family, let's face it, there's only one hottest, coolest time. Parking and tubes are free, and Schlitterbahn lets you bring a picnic. Schlitterbahn Water Parks. Get discounted tickets at schlitterbahn.com.
We can go where the rivers connect us. We can go where the current takes us. Bring the good times home. Let's go to Schlitterbahn.
Folks are always looking for a place to meet friends, grab some food, relax, and unwind with a cold beer, mixed drink, or glass of Boots Sweet Tea. The Tap on Harvey Road has been the place to do just that for nearly 30 years. A casual atmosphere and tasty food keeps people coming back for more. Our burgers, salads, chicken tenders, nachos, and more are sure to satisfy whatever craving you have. And being in SEC country, the Tap is a great place to meet before, during, or after the game. See you at the Tap on Harvey Road in College Station.
Fighting Texas Aggie Soccer is back and looking to build on a successful 2017 season. Listen in as Coach G. Guerreri and the ladies bid for their 24th straight trip to the NCAA tournament. All matches will be broadcast on the Zone 102.7 FM and streamed live on RadioAggieland.com. From Ellisville to every corner of the Southeastern Conference and beyond, your home for Fighting Texas Aggie soccer this fall is on the Zone 102.7 FM and RadioAggieland.com.
It's 12:35 on a Tuesday afternoon. Ryan Brauninger, Beliucci live from here at the Tap on Harvey Road. Beliucci Hour lunch as we continue to roll on this first show of the fall, and we are on the eve of players reporting, and then fall camp starts, I believe Thursday, right? Thursday or Friday? Thursday. You've had to switch it up. I like it, Luch.
Well, they ran out. They didn't have egg rolls.
Oh, so you went chicken.
If anybody wants chicken tenders, I'll give you the signal. You can come up and get them because I'm going to have like 2. I didn't mean to get 10 of them.
You got the large
This
order.
was like dessert. I ate a nice, healthy lunch. I was going to polish it off with like a tender, but now there's like 10 of them.
When you sit down, you're going to do a lot of writing this week for TexAgs, and I'm sure you'll be on a lot of radio shows here leading up to the season. You think, obviously, the quarterback position is going to be the biggest talking point. What do you think Kellen or Nick will have to do in these fall practices to get Jimbo to name them the starter? Does it come down to just being safer with the football?
No, I don't think it's that simple. I think I've even heard them talk before. It's not. Yeah, you can go and not throw. I've heard Jimbo say this. You can go and not throw any interceptions and throw the ball away every damn time and live to see another down. That's not what he wants out of his quarterback. He wants a guy that's going to try and make plays and that is going to make plays and is going to limit mistakes. So, yeah, there's something to that. If a guy's a turnover machine or if he's forcing it too much. And that's one area where I think Nick Starkel needs to really improve over what he was doing last year. And, again, I think they're getting such different coaching right now that he will. But it's also, I think a big part of it is going to be whoever Jimbo, because I think this. I think they're both going to prove that they can make the throws. We know Nick can. I think Kellen's starting to prove that. I think they're going to show, Kellen's going to show what he can do with his legs more and more as they give him more opportunities in camp. They're going to realize they can do some different things offensively because of his running ability. That's going to make him appealing. I think Nick at times is going to make these throws that make Jimbo and Daryl Dickey just sit there and go, wow, like this guy's got that it with his arm. We know what's going to happen there. So unless one of them just melts down in the turnover department, his thing is going to be, I think, as simple as this. Who can he trust most on that football field? They're both leaders. And by the way, remind me to get to this photo shoot thing. But they're both leaders. I think it's going to come down to who he is the most comfortable and who he is the most confident. And he says, I can put them out there. They're going to run my offense exactly how I want it run. They're going to see the same things I see. They're going to get us into the right check. They're going to get us into the right call. If we need to change a play, they're going to get us out of a bad play. Whoever he's the most confident in running his offense, Brauning. Because I think all the other stuff is going to be fairly, really competitive and equal. I think the other thing, the leadership thing, everybody, we call it peak off season, right? And everybody, and I'll admit it was even a little interesting for me when I saw it. I'm like, yeah, why is Starkel's not there? They had that photo shoot with all the guys, and Nick wasn't one of them, and it was all the guys you would expect. You could have named almost all of them, and then there was not Nick Starkel as one of the two guys battling for quarterback. Well, in classic fashion, everybody took that as some huge indicator of that this quarter. Some people went so far as to say the battle was over. She hadn't even actually started yet, but that Kellen Mond was the guy. That's not the case. I went and did my research on it, and Nick Starkel was out of town, and that thing came up within about a 24, 36-hour window, and Nick had, I don't know,
He just wasn't here.
whatever, a
Yeah.
dentist appointment or something, but he was at home in Dallas for a few days and could not make it back for that, and I think he's out there this week doing one on his own, because I think what they'll do is they're going to use that stuff probably, I'm assuming, on like the Jumbotron during games and things like that for graphics. So he's out there doing it. So it had nothing to do. There's nothing to read into that. That's not a thing.
I think an underrated.
And if you think that's a spin because, oh my God, we got caught, not including Nick in that, so now we have to come up with a story. Well, don't you think they would have just put him in it then to avoid having? I mean, so it just stop.
I think one of the things that will play a role in who wins this job is who can handle the coaching the best. And that's a little bit what you said about getting them in the right call and the right checks. But when Jimbo jumps these guys, and he will.
Well, he already has.
Yeah, and how they respond and playing the next play and that kind of thing. So I think the quarterback position is going to be obviously the most interesting talking point. But I want to get your thoughts, too, on I think a lot of people get so excited about the incoming freshmen and what their role is going to be, and then that's who they want to hear about, those names. Who are some of the incoming guys that you think will have an impact on this season, or that you've heard will have an impact?
Well, I think, the obvious, the one everybody saw was Chase Sternberger in the spring. I on a lesser scale, when you hear Jimbo talk about how they probably start fall camp with Eric McCoy at guard and Colton Prater at center, I immediately start wondering, I wonder how Luke Matthews is going to look. Can he be ready to compete for a center job right away? Because I don't think Prater has shown, and I think Prater's tough. I think he's been put in some terrible spots in his career. A lot like Keaton Sutherland early on, and look where he's at now. They're expecting him to be really good this year. But he certainly hasn't shown anything where you just hand him a center job. So I immediately go to Luke and wonder where he's at. And we've heard some good things on he and Tank Jenkins up front. I always want to say Tank Davis, the old A&M lineman. He and Tank Jenkins up front. But to me, where it really, newcomer-wise, Trevor Wood is going to be a difference maker. And by that, I mean, yeah, he'll make some plays in the passing game. And we heard Jimbo talk about him this weekend. He can get up the field. He can make plays. He can really run for a guy his size. But I think where he makes the biggest difference is as a blocker to help out the guy you mentioned earlier. Remember, no matter what, you're probably going to have two true sophomores starting at tackle who really haven't played much. They've played a little. They haven't played much playing in the SEC. Trevor Wood attached is really going to be an asset in that department, but I think where he's even a bigger asset is what it's going to allow them to do with the really versatile, dynamic talent in Jay Sternberger. So Trevor Wood, and then at receiver, you and I have both heard this name all summer. We've heard Caleb Chapman and Jalen Preston as well. Caleb Chapman
was the first one that comes out of everybody's mouth.
He and Charles Strong. And Charles Strong gets a lot of mention too. Now, when the pads go on at running back, that's still one of the most interesting battles this fall camp, I think, because Charles Strong, Vernon Jackson, Jashawn Corbin, Deneric Prince, they're going to really push for that number 2 job. And really, I think there's going to be, it's Travion Williams and then probably a couple of other guys that'll carry the rest of that load. I don't think it's just going to be one. So it's all those freshmen and Cabote. But Strong has really stood out so far. Corbin, we've heard mentioned. But I think Wood, Strong, and Chapman, if I had to say, are the 3 on offense that no matter who you talk to, those names come up.
The thing about Chapman that's different to me is that Jamon's going to be a chain mover. He's going to make tough catches in traffic, use his body well. They just don't have, and that's one of the things that Jimbo, I think, is trying to address in recruiting, is a guy on the outside that can take the top off and run by people. That may be Chapman at 6'4", 6'5", and can, with sprinters, how he was a track guy, too, at Clearbrook down there in Houston.
I wouldn't call a guy like him a take. When I think of a take the top off, you think of this home run hitting speedster. Jalen Waddle would have been that guy. I think I don't know who they've got in this class committed. I mean, Cam Brown and Chase Lane are certainly going to upgrade the speed they have at the position. But that doesn't mean, would you have called Josh Reynolds to take the top off guy? See, I think everyone wants to compare Caleb to Mike. I think he's somewhere between Mike and Josh, in terms of what kind of player he can be. But here's the deal with both those guys.
If he competes like Mike or Josh, if he competes like both of them.
Here's the deal with both those guys. Your definition of take the top off and mine are different. I think what we're both talking about are guys that can make plays down the field.
Mm-hmm.
They can make plays when they're covered. They can get open because of their combination of size and speed
and ball skills.
But you get open because if you're Caleb Chapman, you can out jump the guy covering you. Mm-hmm. So you're not open until the very end of the route when that ball gets there and all of a sudden you're coming down with the catch. You can get open, and this is where I think guys like Wood and Sternberger and Chapman and Preston and Jamon, all those guys can be big and physical, and they get open by being physical when they're running their route. You're running downfield with a guy, and you get a little bump, and all of a sudden after that bump, you're 2 steps ahead of them because you're so physical that bump slows them down or knocks them off their path, and that's where. So they're not a team that the guys are going to play so deep at the safety spots because, man, that guy is going to run right by us. Mm-hmm. No, they're going to cover you, and they're not going to be able to match up with you physically. And Chapman presents an absolute physical mismatch with probably any corner he goes against. So with him, I think it's just going to be learning the offense and adjusting to the toughness and physicality of the college game. And he's a tough kid.
Yep.
Jalen Preston is too. I think they both have a big early impact. That receiver battle is going to be fascinating to watch too. Cam Buckley's had a really good summer. I've heard names like Hez Jones and Rashad Paul. And then Kendrick Rogers to me is a wild card guy because he's got all those things. And there were days in practice where he was kind of like the best player on the field. But that's not an every single day thing with him. And if you're not that, then you become kind of just a bit spot player role guy, and you get passed up by some dudes like some of the ones we talked about.
On the other side of the break, we'll close the show with your question from here at the tap and get LiuccI's thought on a couple of newcomers on defense. Just some Beliucci Hour lunch live on the Zone.
You can listen to TexAgs Radio, 8 to 11 mornings on Sports Radio 1150 and The Zone, 102.7 FM, and online at RadioAggieland.com.
Every 12 minutes, someone dies from opioid addiction. It's a unique addiction, and only one treatment network focuses exclusively on this one thing: crushing opioid addiction.
Symmetry Recovery. One mission, 3 key elements.
Medication, behavioral therapy, and an outpatient setting.
With a success rate 4 times the industry average.
Call 844-847-6999. For you or a loved one, that's 844-847-6999.
Hey, opioid addiction, we've got your number.
Always the hottest, coolest time. Let's go to Schlitterbahn.
For our family, let's face it, there's only one hottest, coolest time. Parking and tubes are free, and Schlitterbahn lets you bring a picnic. Schlitterbahn Water Parks. Get discounted tickets at schlitterbahn.com.
We can go where the rivers connect us. We can go where the current takes us. Bring the good times home. Let's go to Schlitterbahn.
Her laugh when she's not drawing on the wall with crayons. When she's sleeping, like right now in the back seat. I love her. And I'm not about to risk her safety. So yeah, I made sure I was buckling her in the right way, which I wasn't. Guess you're never too old to learn something new.
Child safety seats save lives, yet 3 out of 4 kids aren't buckled in correctly. Not sure? Be sure. Ensure the ones you love are safe. Visit SaveMeWithASeat.org to find free safety seat checks near you. If you love it, click it. Brought to you by TexAgs.
The moment you start up a Toyota Tundra or a Tacoma, you become part of a whole secret society. Full of folks who crave life beyond the civilized world. Who climb mountains simply because they're there. Who howl with wolves, wrestle largemouth bass, and camp out under stars that you never get to see in the city. And when they've had their fill of the great outdoors, they simply turn their trucks around head back to so-called civilization. If you know what we're talking about, you're in. The virtually indestructible new 2018 Toyota Tundra and Tacoma, equipped with Toyota Safety Sense Standard.
Right now, qualified buyers can get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a new 2018 Toyota Tundra Special Edition. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. Drivers should always be responsible for their own safe driving. Depending on the conditions of the roads, vehicles, weather, etc., the systems may not work as intended. Visit gstoffice.com for details. Offers available in select states and at 7/31/18.
Check out our new podcasting at zone1150.com. Commercial free with a new player for you to use. Never miss TexAgs Radio, the Louis Beliucci Show, Studio 12 Live, or the Beliucci Hour ever again. They're all available on demand at zone1150.com. It's even easier than before. You can now subscribe to your favorite shows and get your downloads daily at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or zone1150.com. Don't miss your favorite host, a big interview, or a mindless rant. Get the new podcast at zone1150.com.
Final segment here, Beliucci Hour lunch, opening edition of the fall.
Let's get to these questions.
Well, I got an announcement first.
What?
First 100 subscribers are eligible for prizes from here at the tap or from Zone 1150 if you subscribe to the Zone 1150 YouTube page. So first 100 subscribers.
It's too dark on the set. We need more light. That was on Twitter.
It's too dark? Well,
this guy's upset because I denigrated him based on his appearance. How very Aggie of me. We need to do a tweet of the day.
We can't let you start reading Twitter during
Gabe
the shows.
does his tweet of the day. We need to do one today. This guy.
People mention us.
This guy comes out, and I'll give you the exchange had him going. He referred to me as a special kind of stupid because of. A&M was SWC and Big 12 cheerleader, no self-awareness to see college football world, sans Feinbaum. And I said, I saw your Abby and decided not to respond when I realized I was about to engage with Sling Blade himself. Like, if you're going to do that, you just, sit there and take the response. Resorting to denigration based on appearances. How very Aggie of you. Once again, demonstrating the classic little brother syndrome. You can't get out of your own way, can you? No, actually what happened is you just got big brothered, Sling Blade. They are so – here's the deal, Bronny.
What fan base was that from?
That's Texas. There is nothing to unify Longhorns, Sooners,
Red
Raiders, Horned Frogs, Baylor, the entire Big 12 than to mention A&M, the school none of them care about. And
I'm telling you what, if A&M start to win it at the level that Jimbo's it's going to be Katie bar the door.
Well, the first thing that'll happen is Tom Herman will be the second straight failure. I would say third with the last 5 years or so under Mac Brown. It will extend their streak of misery there in Austin. I think OU is going to be fine under Lincoln Riley. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that I think he's a really good coach and leader. Adversity and time will tell. He hadn't had to have any of that yet. He walked into a gold mine. But, yeah, man, I mean, the way their fans, both those fan bases are reacting right now, they are shook by what's happening on the recruiting front and what Texas A&M's doing.
Got a couple questions from here at the tap. Let's go with this one first because I want to save the other one for last. If the new NFL stadium in Vegas hosts the SEC versus Pac-12, which current bowl gets dropped from the new bowl agreements after 2020? I don't know that we know that.
I don't.
Very, very rarely do you stop Luch.
I don't know. I mean, that's just not an answerable.
Billy, could you compare and contrast Jimbo's 2019 class versus Chad Moore's class? I'll let you guess who wrote that one.
Arkansas had a good weekend this past weekend. They got a couple guys at Brauninger I think are good, solid players, but they're not recruiting on the same level as A&M, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They didn't do it under Piglama.
That's still by far your best nickname.
They didn't do it under Piglama, and they're not going to do it with the Chad Chief combination either. But
Razorback Chad.
But they're doing. I think they're doing. They had a good weekend, and I think he'll build some momentum there. It is important for A&M to continue to beat them because here's the issue: you got a head coach and a coordinator and a fan base that are obsessed with beating A&M. And you heard that lunkhead offensive lineman they had at SEC Media Days
pronounce his name.
Say that they were going to beat A&M this year. You can take it to the bank that those two coaches, their fan base, their players, no one on campus who's ever beaten A&M, and a guy like Rakeem Boyd and Devois Whaley who wanted to come to A&M, those guys are going to be obsessed with winning that football game. So especially if A&M goes in there after, losing to Bama and Clemson, they better get in there and be ready for a fight because it'll be one again. But long term, I don't think Arkansas is a program, and I don't think Chad Morris is a coach for A&M to worry about.
I think that game should go alternate years between College Station and Jerry World because I don't think Fayette-Nam is on anybody's to-do list. I'm just tired. I mean, I don't like going to Jerry World every year for that game. But I think I would sub it out for going to Fayette-Nam.
Well, maybe their fans would do that, but because Jerry Jones might make them, but I don't see a world where it would be. I think it's 5 more years, or maybe a little less. It might be like 4, but I don't see a world where A, Jerry's not going to want to let that game go, but B, I don't see a world in which Arkansas would ever do like a home neutral with A&M. Fayetteville's actually a pretty good atmosphere.
Yeah, I know.
And especially when A&M would go
But
in
isn't
there.
it like the Tech of the SEC in terms
of?
Yeah.
Which is good atmosphere. I mean, you don't like playing it. I think from a competitive standpoint, playing in Cowboy Stadium it has been an advantage for, or whatever we're calling it now, AT&T, has been an advantage for A&M.
Well, I think a lot of the kids grow up playing in it in Texas, and they see it so often that it's not a big deal to them. And I don't know, what kind of factor that plays in the outcome of the game.
Money-wise, A&M does not want to give up a home game every other year.
Yep. Good stuff, Luch. That's our first episode. We'll be back again on Thursday. Don't forget, Tuesdays and Thursdays this fall for Beliucci Hour lunch. We've got a lot to get to. We'll break down A&M's schedule. We'll break down the roster. We'll get Billy's thoughts from what he sees at practice. Football season is right around the corner. You listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch, live on the Zone. Louis on the other side.